Hello, today I am doing the Do I Have That Book challenge. This challenge has been around for quite a while on BookTube, definitely at least a few years. I'm not sure who originally created it, but I wanted to do it today. This, not really a tag, it's more of a challenge, consists of prompts or questions about if you have a book with a certain thing on the cover or that's a certain page count or things like that. So let's go through this and then I guess I will tell you how many points I got in the end. So there are 20 questions. The first one is, do you have a book with deckled edges? I think I know what deckled edges are, and I think I have a book that fits that description. My copy of The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton, are these deckled edges? They might be. I think that means like when the pages are not all the same length. I think this fits the description. Let me know if I am wrong, but this is not the edition that I read. I read this, I borrowed it from the library and I liked it so much I got my own copy. That was 5 years ago. I'll put on screen the cover of the copy that I read, but I really enjoyed this. I read it a year after 9th grade, so when I was in 10th grade, because at my school, the high schoolers were reading Lord of the Flies that year and the middle schoolers got The Outsiders. But we all had the same English classroom, so I would see like drawings and stuff of the characters from The Outsiders on the wall, and so I would hear a little bit about it, but I'd never read it. Now, I feel I haven't really given Lord of the Flies a fair chance, so I'm not going to say that it's a bad book or anything. I don't plan on reading it on my own. Let me know if you think I should. But I remember at the time not being very interested in it, but also I didn't do super well with listening to books in English class. I like to read them on my own at my own pace, so I'm not giving a fair assessment of the book, nor would I say I fully read it because I'm sure I wasn't paying attention to all of it. Anyway, the middle schoolers that year read The Outsiders. Next school year, on my own, I was curious because I'd heard that The Outsiders was like one of the first young adult books, and it also isn't very long, so I checked it out from the library and I really enjoyed it. So I felt a little jealous that the middle schoolers got The Outsiders and we got Lord of the Flies. If you've read both of those, let me know which you prefer. But yeah, I think this is a book I'd like to reread someday. It's already been a long time, but for a while I just have not been in the mood to reread anything. I just want to read books I've never read before, but I think this is on my list of books I would like to read again someday. The second question is, do you have a book with 3 or more people on the cover? I definitely do, but for a lot of these, I'm not against using really popular books like Harry Potter or The Hunger Games or Twilight as my answers. But I think a lot of those books could apply to a lot of these prompts, and I want to try to talk about other books. Now, if I can't find any others, then I will use those. But I want to try to use books that perhaps aren't as popular. So a book came to mind, but let me see if I can find another one where that applies to it. So the first one, just skimming through the shelves, was Just as Long as We're Together by Judy Blume. There are the 3 friends on the cover. I read this, I think, when I was in 9th grade, and I was reading a lot of Judy Blume books at that time, and I remember not liking this one as much as the others. I don't know why, maybe it just wasn't as interesting. But yeah, this is like a little series about 3 friends. This one was from the perspective of one of the characters, and then there was the sequel, Here's to You, Rachel Robinson, which I remember reading a little later on. I think it was the next school year, and I remember liking this one more. But I don't remember a whole lot about either book. And there was like a plan for there to be a book from the other character's perspective, but that never happened. But yeah, this book does have 3 or more people on the cover. Question 3 is, do you have a book based on another fictional story? So the first thing that comes to mind is the Disney Queen's Council series, but I'm not quite sure this would count because this is basically not exactly a retelling. It does have the same characters. There are more books in the series, but I just have this one that's about Beauty and the Beast and this one about Mulan. But this is more of just like a continuation of those stories. I wouldn't really call it a retelling, and I wouldn't say it's based on another story, so I wouldn't say that this counts. So let me look some more and see if I have something. Well, I've heard that 11 Birthdays by Wendy Mass is similar to the movie Groundhog Day when it comes to something that happens in the book, but I don't know if this is particularly based on that. I assume it's probably pretty different from it. I think I might have my answer now because, and I'll just pull out the first book. I have the Jekyll series by Travis M. Riddle. This is a progression fantasy series that is inspired by the Pokemon franchise, and I guess that would be considered a story because, well, Pokemon is like a multimedia thing, but I'm sure there's manga to go along with it. But it is mainly video games, but video games have a story. I didn't say it had to be a book, so I think I can say this because this is definitely inspired by Pokemon, but it is its own thing with some differences. Question 4, do you have a book with a title 10 letters long? I think this is a fun one. I think any ones based on numbers are pretty fun. I'm sure I do. I don't know exactly which one it will be, but I'll look. Just Listen by Sarah Dessen is a title that is 10 letters long. We're doing well so far. Now, most of the books that I have are on this bookshelf, which is 4 shelves high. I don't have any of my own books on the top shelf, like the very top of it. That's not really a shelf, you know what I mean? I do have some books elsewhere. Some of them though are in a cabinet that's kind of hard to reach right now. It's kind of covered by a lot of things. So with some of these, maybe I have a book that would fit one of these prompts that's out there, and some of them I might remember and then I can put the image on screen. I can't get the book right now. And then some of them I may just not remember. Or you could just do this challenge with whichever books are on your main shelf, or if you have multiple shelves. Question 5, a book with a title that starts and ends with the same letter. I've done this challenge before when I had a booktube channel before, and I think this may have been the same book that I used, but it's the first that came to mind when I read this, and that is Then Again Maybe I Won't by Judy Blume, starts and ends with a letter T. Question 6, do you have a mass market paperback? I have a book, but I'm not sure if that's what it is. My copy of All the Dangerous Things by Stacey Willingham. This is a small book, but I feel like it's a little bit taller than a mass market paperback. I'm not sure if this is considered one, if there are multiple kinds. Because like I said, it's a little taller. I feel like mass market paperbacks are just a little bit shorter than this, so I'm not sure if this counts. So somebody please let me know. It is a smaller book, but I'm not quite sure. I think generally if I see a mass market paperback, I will know that that's what it is, but that one I'm just not sure because I know there are different kinds of paperback books. Other than that one, I don't think I have anything that would be considered that. Question 7, a book written by an author using a pen name. On this bookshelf, I might not that I know of. I mean, some are like their first and middle initial and then their last name, which I don't know if I consider that a pen name because it's still their name. I know I have had a book written by an author with a pen name in the past. Oh wait, I do have one. I just haven't read it yet and it's at the bottom, so I didn't think of it right away, but I do have one. I do have the first book in the A Series of Unfortunate Events series by Lemony Snicket. I know that's not his real name. I haven't read this. I know this is a really popular series. I don't know very much about it. I haven't seen any adaptations of it. If you think I should read this sooner, let me know. It's so short, and yet I just don't know very much about it, and I don't know if I'd enjoy it. I read a lot of children's books, so I don't think I'd be put off by that. But I just know almost nothing about this, and I have just been reluctant. I'm not sure if I would like this, but it has been recommended to me, so if you think I should read this, let me know, and let me know why, instead of just saying like, oh, you need to read this, because that tells me nothing, and I have plenty of other books that I really want to get to. So if you could give me a reason why I should read this, or why I shouldn't, then let me know. But yes, this is my answer for this one. Question 8, a book with a character's name in the title. I have a lot, and some of them that come to mind are some of Judy Blume's books, but I've already used 2 of her books as examples, so I wanted to come up with something else. So for this one, I'm going to say Jean and Johnny by Beverly Cleary. This is one of the books in her First Love series. There are 4 books. I've only read and I'm interested in 3 of them, but I remember reading this series a few years ago and enjoying it. These definitely don't seem to be her most popular books or the ones she's known for, but these were like, I think the 4th one that I didn't read was published in the 60s, but these are like young adult contemporary romances from the 1950s, and I enjoyed these. So this one has both Jean and Johnny in the title. Question 9, do you have a book with 2 maps in it? I'm not sure about this one. I don't think I read a lot of books that have maps in them, but I'll look. Yeah, I could be mistaken, but I don't think I have one. I think in my Barnes & Noble collectible edition of Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie, the end pages are a map, but I think it's like the same map in the front and back, so that's not 2 maps, so I don't think I have one for this one. Which doesn't surprise me. Those don't seem like the kind of books I would read super often. I don't know, how common are maps in books? I'm guessing for like maybe some fantasy series they'd be pretty popular. Let me know if you have a book with 2 maps in it. Question 10, do you have a book that was turned into a TV show? This is an interesting question because it's a TV show specifically, not a movie. I feel like usually they get turned into movies. So let's see. Yeah, I'm looking at a lot of these, and a lot of these have movie adaptations, but maybe not TV shows. I used to have Looking for Alaska by John Green, and I know there's a TV show adaptation of that rather than a movie, but I don't think I have that book anymore. It's definitely not on this shelf. And I'm including books I currently have, even if they're not on the shelf, I still have them. Not books I no longer have. I mean, I know that there's like a new Harry Potter TV series in development, but I wanted to try to say answers other than like the big popular series if possible. So yeah, besides that, I don't think that's even like out yet. I don't think I have an answer for this one. Question 10. Do you have a book that was written by someone who was originally famous for something else? Do I? Just which one do I choose? I guess we're gonna go with the cute children's book, The Lonely Astronaut on Christmas Eve by Tom DeLonge, mostly known as one of the members of the band Blink-182, amongst many other things. This is a really cute book. Question 12. Do you have a book with a clock on the cover? I would think I do. That sounds like a pretty common object. Actually, there's a book that comes to mind. It's on one of my other shelves on the other side of the room that you can't see from this angle, but I'll look at it. I feel like it probably has a clock on it. Okay, yeah, I think this counts. In the Gravity Falls book, Dipper and Mabel and the Curse of the Time Pirate's Treasure, this book is a choose your own adventure story, or it's called a select your own choose venture, according to the bottom. And because this deals with a character who is a time traveler, it's actually quite a fitting way to make it this kind of thing, because in these kinds of books you may go forward a bunch of pages or backwards a bunch of pages. So that's a really interesting way to do it. So I figured because of that, just by memory, I thought there's probably a clock on this cover. And at first I didn't see one. I was like, is there really not a clock on here? But there is a clock that is basically this creature's eye. This was a pretty fun book. It has some nice illustrations as well. It was pretty funny, and as a Gravity Falls fan, I enjoyed it. Question 13. Do you have a poetry book? I do have a couple, but they are in that cabinet. But I can put photos of them on screen. So I have Dear Listener, I'm Breathing Are You by Austin Kerr, and I have Noise by Jenny Vermes. Those are basically poetry collections. Question 14, a book with an award stamp on it. I'm pretty sure I have one. Okay, yeah, my copy of Dear Mr. Henshaw by Beverly Cleary has this stamp. That is the Newbery Medal. So yeah, I'm not sure how many books I have with an award stamp on them, but this one does have the Newbery Medal. Question 15. Do you have a book written by an author with the same initials as you? No, I don't think so. I know I have read a book by an author with the same initials as me, but I don't think I own one. Question 16. Do you have a book of short stories? I might not, but maybe? No, I don't think I do have one of those. I don't think I read a lot of short stories. I mean, I read a lot of short books, but as for like a collection of short stories, I don't think so. Let me know if you have any recommendations for those kinds of books. Question 17. Do you have a book between 500 and 510 pages long? I think this is a pretty fun one. I think this will be fun to look through the books. So let's look. I think I probably have one, though it is pretty specific. Yeah, I don't know about this one. I thought I probably did, but maybe not. I'm trying to think about when I did this challenge before, if I had one for this. I thought I did. Maybe it's a book that's not on the shelf now. I'd look at this book, but I haven't read it yet. I'll have to be really careful. I think it's under 500 pages. I didn't see any words, just the page numbers at the top. Yeah, it's possible I don't have one. Yeah, I'm thinking I don't have one. That's a shame. I would have liked to have one for this one, but that is pretty specific. Question 18. Do you have a book that was turned into a movie? This one's a little easier because, as I said, a lot of these have movie adaptations. But which one do I choose to show? Well, I know I've already mentioned Judy Blume, but she is one of my favorite authors, and I know that she's pretty well known, but I feel like the Tiger Eyes movie is not. But I remember getting the DVD and watching the movie shortly after reading the book, and I remember the movie being very emotional and made me cry. I mean, it's not hard to make me cry, especially if it's a movie, but I'm just saying what I remembered from it. It was very sad, but I remember enjoying it. When it comes to movies, I don't think it was nearly as popular as some of the other adaptations of books on this shelf. Question 19. Do you have a graphic novel? I do have a few, or at least a couple. I have the book Speechless by Erin Nell Steinke. This is a new release this year. I read it and reviewed it earlier, and this is about a girl who struggles with selective mutism at school. And I found this to be quite informational and relatable, as well as inspiring, and I enjoyed this story. and it's got some pretty nice art. So yeah, I do have a small amount, not very many graphic novels, but I have read some others besides the ones I own, but I own at least this one and one other. Last question, question 20. A book written by 2 or more authors. For this one, I'm going to say the novel Let It Snow by John Green, Maureen Johnson, and Lauren Miracle. Each of these authors wrote one, I guess, like little short story in this book. I read this in high school and I remember enjoying it. I've only ever read from John Green. I haven't read from the other authors. Let me know if you think I should. But I have read some of his other books. There is actually the sticker talking about how now it's a Netflix movie. And I do remember watching the movie as well around that time, and I remember enjoying it. These stories are, as these little words here say, 3 holiday romances, and I think they maybe kind of tied in with each other a little bit. I think when I was 14 and 15, I was reading a lot of the really popular young adult authors, like John Green, Becky Albertalli, Rainbow Rowell. I feel like there's one other I'm forgetting. Nicola Yoon. So yeah, there is the Do I Have That book challenge. I plan on doing the Do I Have That other book challenge. Now, some of these I was unsure about, so my score isn't really that important. I don't know if most people even say what their score is, but I'll still go through the questions and see what my score probably is. Okay, so I think I got about 14 out of 20. If you've played along with me, you can let me know your score as well. And thank you for watching.